Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Carla King, your host, and I'm happy to have you with us today. Today's session is with Tisha Morris, and we'll be talking about the basics of NFTs for authors and how you can use one and how she used one in her book launch strategy. Tisha is an entertainment attorney, feng shui expert, and nonfiction author who holds a degree in law, economics, and interior design with certifications in yoga, feng shui, and coaching. She's the author of 5 self-help books, including her recent release, Missing Element, Hidden Strength, which she launched in November 2022 with NFTs. Tisha is a member of the Beverly Hills Bar Association, LA County Bar Association, Women in Film, and co-ambassador of the Authors Guild Los Angeles chapter. When not practicing law, Tisha lives in Ojai, California with her wife, poodle, 2 stepcats, and works on becoming a legal thriller novelist. Hi, Tisha. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Carla. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You are such in the cutting edge. NFTs are the shiny new things, and I think authors will understand why by the end of this talk with you. I met you first at the San Francisco Writers Conference. I forget which book you had just launched, but you've launched 5. Can you just briefly describe each of them from the first to this new one?
Sure. I always think about Mind, Body, Home as being my first one because that's the first book I started writing. But as things go, a different one jumped in line. And so it's called Feng Shui Your Life. It was a very, or I guess it still is, it's still in print, a very easy, handy book on using Feng Shui in your home. And then I moved into decorating with the 5 elements of Feng Shui, focusing on using just the 5 elements in your space. And then a reprise from some of my earlier work with clutter, wrote Clutter Intervention because people wanted to jump that step, which is really the first step of any kind of space improvement. And then lastly, this book, Missing Element, Hidden Strength, is a compilation of my career path in some ways of combining the creative and the business aspects and bringing the 5 elements actually into our personalities and also into the creative process. I also combine it some with your space as well, because our space is this secret weapon that's always here to utilize. So that's, in a nutshell, the trajectory so far.
I wanted to just ask you, so NFTs are in the news a lot, but how did you get the idea of launching your book with NFTs this time? Why do you think you were ready now?
So I, as an entertainment attorney, this is a big area in the entertainment industry, particularly music and obviously film as well. And so I have been learning a lot on my own, particularly with the copyright and trademark issues that come along with NFTs, thinking through my lens of a lawyer. And so in the meantime, I have this book coming out and I was like, you know what? The best way to learn anything is to do it yourself. And of course, NFT for authors in the publishing industry, which I think they're going to completely revolutionize the publishing industry in a few years. I wanted to have my experience with it. And so that's really, honestly, it was not really to make any kind of, I never thought I was going to, have a Bored Ape Yacht Club series or collection by any means. It's actually been a learning tool and experience for me so that I can help future clients, honestly.
Well, I love that you said that because I think it's important for us as authors and business people to think about the future like that. Okay, so if this is the future of currency and this is the future of book launches, even though it might not be a financial success right now, it can be a learning experience that you can get in early when it does become mainstream. Is that what you experience with your NFT?
Exactly. And the barrier to entry is actually really low. And as far as, except for just the learning curve and just the intimidation factor. And so that's the part I really wanted to get into in doing it myself. And I hired someone to create 5 tokens, which, this book to me was so perfect for this, to have an NFT project accompany it because it's based on the 5 elements. And so 5 elements, I immediately was like, oh, 5 tokens. And, I wasn't selling the tokens as some kind of rare art, or I'm not an artist, so I didn't do them myself. It wasn't about the art itself, which a lot of these collectibles are. It's more about them as being tokens and what the unlockable content that comes with the token. Anyway, it was, like I said, it was a low barrier to entry. It's just a matter of uploading them into OpenSea. And really the graphics, as far as really the marketing, is really the more challenging part of NFTs at this point, in my opinion.
So your book, Missing Element, Hidden Strengths, it has value for the reader. And those values are in understanding, as I understand it, those elements and the one you're missing that you can pump up.
That's right.
Improve yourself. And so you're offering the NFTs with other content. So how did you figure out what content? So you wrote everything in the book, right? So how did you figure out what extra content to offer and how to price those?
Yeah, good questions. And I was just kind of inventing the wheel a little bit. There are some other authors that have done this as well. I'm not the first by any means, but it is still obviously on the cutting edge. And like I said, the 5 elements seem very conducive to this type of marketing. And so with each element, I offered one that was, I wanted to just make it for free, but I made it $1 just so people, because I want the consumers, and there's plenty of us who want to practice, so to speak, and see what this whole wallet thing is all about. And so I made it just $1, whatever that translates to in Ethereum. But something. But the token that I really wanted to focus on was the one with unlockable content that had exclusive material that only you could get through that coin or that token, which is my book proposal and the query letter that I use, the pitch, a lot of my pitch materials, the cover art that I designed, stuff that you can't get off of my website, basically. The other stuff in the other tokens are courses and things like that you can purchase in other ways. But I made it a little cheaper if you go through the hassle of getting an NFT. But I think it's important to distinguish for listeners the difference between using NFTs for marketing, which is what we're talking about, versus an NFT book. And NFT books are still in the incubation stage. There's some platforms that are minting NFT books. But so far right now in our conversation, we're only talking about using NFTs as a marketing device.
Okay, so you just used a couple of terms. One of them was minting. And what does minting mean?
So that's the term of art that's been coined in the NFT world. And it means when your JPEG or GIF or whatever it is, or movie or MP, whatever digital device that you are uploading, but you're uploading it to the blockchain. And so that's where things get more serious because it's irreversible. So the minting is like the new upload.
So you're not uploading it to Ingram Spark or Draft to Digital or even your own website. You're uploading it. You're marrying it, undivorceable actually, from the blockchain, which is encrypted so that nobody can ever pirate it or that. But how do people but people aren't ready to get those yet, especially with books. Correct. So
the NFT books, which I'm really excited about the future of this. And this is what I really think is going to really be another disruptor to the publishing industry in the same way that print on demand has been. Because the NFT book, the entire book will be an upload, and there will be a reader just similar to the Kindle reader on your phone or on your tablet device. And so you'll read ebooks the same that you'll read an NFT book the same that we have read ebooks. However, you will actually own it. Like when I found out that I own none of my Kindle books, I was astounded. And yet it's a semantics, and yet it's not, because what that means is if you own something, you can resell it. Whereas if you're just borrowing a license or having a license from Amazon to read this book on your Kindle, you don't own it. And therefore there's nothing you can do. And one day you could open your Kindle device and all your books be gone. Mm-hmm. But in the NFT book world, you own this particular book and you then can resell it. And this is where things are going to be on a whole nother level for authors and also the reader, the consumer, because each resale of that book, the author will automatically get a royalty from that resale.
And you define that in something called a smart contract, which is attached to the blockchain and the item that you're selling, whether it's art or a book or whatever. So if I buy your book today with an NFT, which we're not actually talking about, so we're going to move on really fast. But if I buy it and then I sell it, and you can stipulate that you get 50% or 10% or 2%, or even that a lot of it or the whole thing goes to charity or anything. Right?
Yes, absolutely. It's written in that smart contract when it's minted. And so it's automatic. So it will, upon that transaction, will automatically go to the wallet of the author.
Awesome. All right. So that's in the future, but right now you use it for marketing.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that work out?
It was fun. I will say that. And what I knew going in is that my audience, which most of my audience has historically been interested in mostly women, my books have always focused on the home and our spaces. So it's more of a female audience. I knew the NFTs were not what my audience was. My audience still in the tangible world, as in I love the tangible world, the very earthy things. So I knew that, like I said, this was something I was going to get rich off of, as more of a learning experience. And so it has been just that. And I think it's another way just to add. Marketing is all about buzz, right? And so however you can add buzz to your marketing campaign, I think is a win. And there's so many ways that you can use NFTs as a marketing device. And a lot of, like I said, there has been more and more authors doing this and coming up with very creative ways of doing it. So like I said, I use these tokens with unlockable content, and so it gives you access to an author that you might not otherwise have. It builds that fan base.
Right. Is it like instead of having a Substack or a Patreon or something? And can you go back and explain what unlockable content is?
Yeah. So in some cases, the NFT you're purchasing, it may be what you get. Like it's a digital art that you want for whatever reason. But some of the NFTs are just like tokens in that they represent something more. And even the Ticketmaster companies of the world, they're using this unlockable content. Basically, you're buying a token just like a ticket, and the content that you're getting is actually a event access, like Coachella or something. So it's like actually a ticket. And that unlockable content is what comes along with it. In my case, it was, like I mentioned, exclusive access to unseen material that otherwise you wouldn't be able to see. I guess you could, one marketing, you could make the unlockable content like you don't tell them what it is, and it's almost like a grab bag. That could be fun, depending on how much you price it. So there's just a lot of creative things you can get creative with.
I love what you're doing with the courses. So you actually have the NFT that unlocks your book proposal and all of that, which is awesome for authors. And you also have courses. And a lot of nonfiction authors are business people who run courses. And I could buy your course and I get done with it, or I could buy it as a gift for somebody and you get money. You get that extra money when I sell it to somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah. All of NFTs are resellable, and
they can go up and down in value.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what's really fun about that. Yeah. And so just on a practical purpose, when I say unlockable content, all it is, so if you were to buy an NFT of mine, upon that purchase, you get to click and unlock the content. You already know from my marketing what it's going to be, so it's not a surprise. But in my case, all it is a link to a private page on my website or a discount code to download the course. So it's actually very easy and very practical. It's not like all of a sudden some Jack in the Box shows up on your screen. It's just a link. That's how I set it up, is a link to either a Google file with your content that you've purchased through the NFT, or like I said, a link to a private web page on my site that gives you the instructions for next steps.
And people writing music books could actually have a video of the chord or how to play the instrument.
Yeah. Or a Zoom link for a private webinar for a certain date. Could also be a nice, I thought about doing that, but I made my book launch. So it had this NFT launch, and then I had just a normal book launch for the rest of the population that is in the 3D, more in the 3D world, and which was free. So that was how I decided to market this book, is make a normal launch and then the fun NFT launch for those who were NFT curious.
That makes total sense. And I looked at both and they were awesome. You did a great video book launch.
Thank you.
Yeah. So NFTs are non-fungible. And I think were you saying not unlockable to mean non-fungible or not? How do those two terms relate or
No,
not?
no, those would be different terms. Yeah. The NFT stands for non-fungible token, meaning that it's unique in that, whereas a fiat dollar, every dollar is the same dollar, whereas an NFT, there's a uniqueness about it. That's only the word fungible. I don't know where that word has been in our vocabulary, but we have missed out on it for most of our life until now. So
okay, now I'm going to have to go research that word.
I know what's the origins of fungible, but yeah, now we're in the non-fungible world.
So that just means that I can no longer pay $1 for your dollar's worth of thing, because it's like the stock market, it goes up and down. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, I think that's a good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's totally unique. So is it possible to just in a few minutes, just talk to us about the steps of uploading the NFTs into OpenSea? And OpenSea is OPENSEA, which is a marketplace.
Yeah.
Because, I've done a little crypto and all that. And I got the MetaMask and Bitcoin and Ethereum and MoonPay and all kinds of things in this past year. So what did you actually have to do? So you created your content, which are the 5 NFTs, and you price them differently. So you've got them. Now, how do you sell them? You open an account on OpenSea?
Correct. Yeah. And OpenSea is one of many marketplaces. I see it as if we compare this Web 3.0 world to our Web 2.0 world back in the day, it's like the eBay. eBay was the first marketplace. And that's how I see OpenSea being. It is the biggest. I think that is a fact. That's the biggest one. It's OpenSea.io. But there are some more niche platforms, Rarible, and some that just focus on particular goods and services. And there are some private websites that can host their own NFTs as well. But OpenSea is the biggest one. So I stuck with the easiest one. And you have to have a wallet. So MetaMask or Coinbase are the biggest 2 wallets on your phone. So you have to, it's a interesting, because the verification process is much more.
It's so secure.
Yeah.
I had to create 12 words.
Yeah. So the password is a lot more sophisticated than just a normal platform site on the internet. So that was step 1. I already had a wallet, so that was pretty easy to. And by the way, just for anyone who's confused, the difference between cryptocurrency and NFTs, because cryptocurrency is getting a bad rap these days after the big crash. And so cryptocurrency is the currency that's used in the Web 3.0, meaning blockchain. The Web 3.0 is blockchain driven, meaning those smart contracts, every transaction is on the blockchain forever. And it's cryptocurrency that's used as the transaction device. It can easily be, some sites are now using credit cards in US dollars, and then it's like foreign currency where you just have real.
It's just money, right?
It's money. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a different kind of currency. And you can only spend it at OpenSea or these marketplaces, not like going to Europe and having to use the euro. Cool.
OpenSea account. And really from there, you create your profile. You have a collection. You can call it a collection. Since I have more than one, there was 5 in this collection. They call it the missing element collection. And you just upload it. You put in the metadata, description, all that good stuff. And really that's it. It's really simple. I have my own on my web page. I have all of a designated page on my website of all the content as well. So I'd already created the, description and the content that I'm going to include with it. It was actually really simple. Yeah.
And that's at tishamorris.com/
That's correct.
NFT.
Yeah. That's right.
Simple. Yeah. So if you're in front of your computer, definitely go look at it. It just looks like a store. You buy it, but your readers, the people who wanted it, did you have to educate people?
So I had a free webinar for anyone who was interested, and went through the steps of how to purchase one of the NFTs, which again, you have to have a wallet on your phone. And strangely enough, on OpenSea, you can't purchase on the OpenSea app. You can only search. That the purchase has to take place on your desktop. And but it will connect with your wallet on your phone.
Yeah,
So
I had my phone out and my laptop open the whole time going, okay, here, putting my 12 words here,
Yep.
and then I'm getting my password, device verification here. And it's a lot of steps, but I think it only takes about a half an hour.
Yeah, and these are steps that are going to get smoothed out with time, and it's already become a little bit smoother.
Mhm.
And gas fees has been a big challenge as far as that's why I marked my prices pretty low because I knew the gas fees, which are just the fees of the blockchain doing what it needs to do. But
yeah, the data processing, just to be clear, just takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to fix that too.
So that's going to be, once that's significantly improved,
Mhm.
then I think NFTs are going to really become more popular again. We'll have the resurgence once again.
And for me to buy your NFT, I have to have a wallet. I have to have some cryptocurrency in there,
right?
Whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or some of the others. So I just have to do that. But when I go to the website, I have to buy it on OpenSea and then follow the instructions to attach my wallet. Just when you're paying, I pay my landlord automatically from my bank account. You have your ACH, you've got your routing number and your bank account number. It's not quite that smooth yet, but I think it will be pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm remembering in the early days with eBay, you had to use PayPal actually to make your transactions. And this is very similar, these wallets instead of the PayPal.
Oh gosh. And I do remember how cutting edge and complicated people figure out it. Now it's just like PayPal is everywhere.
Yep.
Which is an argument for starting now, really, to put something small on your website, right? Just to let your readers get used to it.
Yeah. And I tend to stay on the cutting edge of things because that's just exciting for me. And like I said, I wanted to learn by doing, by experiencing. And I found that it was a pretty, like I said, a low barrier to entry. And so educating the consumers on that end of how to do things. And so that's going to get more and more simple. Yeah.
There's so much to cover. We could talk for another hour about this, but did we hit the high points? We just have a couple minutes left.
I think we did. Yeah, I think we did. There's a lot, there's so many creative ways that you can use it for marketing. I just, with my launch, just barely touched the surface. Another technique that I think would be really fun is to give away signed copies. So combining the physical product with the NFT, and you can certify in the book that this is NFT 1 of 5 or whatever the case is. And so there becomes a uniqueness and a limited quantity. And that's where the value starts to come in play, but so many creative ways to use them.
There are endless ideas for the book, the physical item, a package of a book, a journal, and a pen and a cup, like we're all selling through the marketplaces anyway.
Right.
Art, music, public appearances, Zoom. And look at what the artists and the musicians are doing, right?
Yes, that's right.
You're in LA, so you're really hooked into that. Yeah. Okay. I'd love to keep up with your progress with the NFTs. I'm definitely going to look at it as a model. I'm in the middle of buying that $1 one.
Awesome.
I got stuck right before we got on. I was like, I'm going to do this, see if I can do it in half an hour, but I got stuck on MoonPay.
Okay.
Yeah. Got stuck on MoonPay, but when we hang up, I'm gonna restart that, spend my dollar or my 0.00621 whatever Ethereum or Bitcoin, and make it happen to see what's in that NFT.
Yes. Apparently gas fees are cheaper in off hours. So in the middle of the day, gas fees are, they fluctuate, like catching an Uber during high traffic times kind of thing. It's gas fees are similar in that way. So if anyone's wanting to buy an NFT, it's better to do it in off hours, so to speak. So
where can we buy your book and get your courses and all of that?
My book is available everywhere online that you buy books. And my website, tishamorris.com, you can link there, of course, and get somewhere really quick. I also have a writing course that goes along with the 5 elements, using the 5 elements as a kind of the template for the creative process, and other courses, memoir writing courses. And then my law site for if you need publishing representation is morrisentertainmentlaw.com.
Wow. That's great. You're a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
That's awesome. I hope to have you back and talk about that law stuff too. We get a lot of
Yeah, I would
questions
love
about
to.
that.
And NFTs in the publishing contract is going to be something that we need to talk about soon.
Let's talk about that pretty soon, within the next couple of months for sure. Yeah. The publishing companies are starting to write it into their contracts, and that can be danger.
Yep.
All right, Tisha, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you, Carla. It's a pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. Sign up for our mailing list to get reminders and all kinds of good stuff. Authors need to write, publish, promote, and profit from your books. Meantime, keep writing. The world needs your experience and expertise.